You'll probably say I've lost my mind. My children certainly think so. But I believe it's quite the opposite. For the first time in 81 years, I've finally started living for real. The emotions I'm feeling right now, it's like I'm young and energetic again, just trapped inside this old, fragile body. I'm 81. For 60 of those years, I was a good person. I was the wife who stayed in the kitchen while the world moved on outside. I built a mountain of savings, a legacy intended for people who already have their own lives. But last Tuesday, I was digging through some old boxes in the attic and found my bucket list from 1964. I was 19 when I wrote it. I wanted to paint with oils in a real studio. I wanted to learn how to drive a fast car. I wanted to see the ocean without having to pack a cooler for anyone else. I looked at my young, hopeful handwriting, and it hit me. I've spent 60 years being a guardian of everyone else's dreams, while mine gathered dust. Well, the dust is gone. I'm not waiting for a rainy day anymore. It's pouring right now, and I'm going to dance in it. I'm spending my savings. All of it. Not on a fancy coffin, but on the woman I forgot I was. Mum, have you lost your mind? Or is this early dementia? That was the first thing my son said when he saw my bank statement. He didn't ask if I was happy. He didn't ask why I finally bought those professional oil paints or why I was looking at vintage car listings. He only saw the numbers disappearing. He called it financial security. I called it a ransom for a life I hadn't finished living. He was already mourning the inheritance he'd mentally spent on his own home improvements, while I was sitting right in front of him, still breathing, still dreaming. It's a strange thing about getting older. People start treating your savings like their property. They talk about preserving your assets as if you're a museum exhibit that needs to be kept in a temperature-controlled room. My son argued that at 81, I should be preparing for the end. But preparing for what? For a slightly more expensive pillow in a nursing home? I looked at him and realized that for years, I'd been playing the role of the fragile grandmother just to make everyone else feel safe. But safety is a slow poison when you've got a 60-year-old fire burning in your chest. I told him, I've spent 60 years being responsible for you. For the first time in my life, I'm going to be irresponsible for me. And if there's nothing left for the will, well, you'll just have to remember me by the stories I'm about to go out and create. If you find this story relatable, please hit that like button and share your hidden dream in the comments. Maybe your one message will be the spark that helps someone else finally take action. I didn't buy a Ferrari. I didn't do anything flashy. I just booked a room in a beautiful, quiet hotel by the ocean. The kind of place where the sheets are crisp and white, and you can hear the waves from the balcony. For 60 years, I've traveled with a suitcase full of everyone else's needs. Extra sweaters for the kids, Richard's medicine, snacks for the grandkids. I was the planner, the cook, the one who made sure everyone else had a view while I sat in the back seat. This time, my suitcase was light. It only had my things. When I sat down for dinner at a small table for one, I felt everyone's eyes on me. In our society, an 81-year-old woman eating alone is seen as a tragedy. People look at you with pity, assuming you've been abandoned. But as I tasted that first glass of expensive wine, the kind I'd always tell myself was too much, I realized I wasn't lonely. I was finally meeting myself. For the first time in my life, I didn't have to ask if anyone else was hungry. I didn't have to check if the hotel was practical for the kids. I was spending my money on my peace. And as I watched the sunset, I realized that the inheritance I was supposed to save wasn't nearly as valuable as this 1 hour of absolute undisturbed belonging to myself. You probably remember Leo, the 21-year-old nursing student who is still living with me on the same terms we agreed upon. My son thought having a young stranger in the house was another sign of my decline. But the truth is quite different. Seeing Leo every day, his messy textbooks on the table, his late-night snacks, his unshakable belief that the whole world belongs to him, it woke something up in me. That raw, youthful energy he carries. It gave me the courage to finally open that blue notepad. I watched him studying for his exams, fueled by ambition and cheap coffee, and I realized, why should I act like my life is already over just because of my age? Leo doesn't look at me as a fragile grandmother or a bank account for future generations. He looks at me as a person. Sometimes we sit on the porch in the evenings, and I tell him about the ocean or the car I drove. He doesn't judge me for spending my money. He just says, "Go for it, Abigail. You can't take it with you anyway." His presence taught me that energy isn't just about how fast you can run. It's about how much you're willing to want from life. Having him around reminded me that I'm still a part of the world, not just a witness to it. He was the one who helped me realize that being responsible for 60 years was enough. It was time to be a little reckless. And having a 21-year-old in the next room made that recklessness feel like the most natural thing in the world. My son came over yesterday with a folder full of brochures for senior living communities. He didn't even knock. He sat at my kitchen table, pointed at my bank statement, and said, "Mum, you're being selfish. That money was supposed to be for your grandchildren's college, for our family's security. You're throwing away our future on, what, a hotel and a car?" I looked at him, and for the first time, I didn't feel the need to apologize. I didn't feel that heavy, familiar guilt that mothers are supposed to carry until the grave. I told him, "You call it your future. I call it my past. That money is 40 years of me working extra shifts. It's 30 years of your father and I never taking a vacation, so you could have the best of everything. It's not an inheritance, David. It's my life, converted into paper and ink. And I am tired of being a bank for people who only visit me when they want to check the balance." The look on his face, it was shock. He realized that the fragile woman he thought he could manage was gone. I told him that the best inheritance I could ever give his children isn't a check. It's the image of a grandmother who actually respected herself enough to be happy. I'm not a safe. I'm not a college fund. I'm a human being who is still here. And if the price of my freedom is his disappointment, then that's a price I am finally willing to pay. I know what some of you are thinking. It's easy for her to talk. She has the savings. She has the health. She has a room to spare. I want to be honest with you. I know that everyone's situation is different. Life is messy, and our circumstances are never identical. Some of you are caring for sick partners, some are struggling just to keep the lights on, and some have children who truly need every cent of that inheritance just to survive. I am not telling you to go out and empty your bank account tomorrow if it means you won't have a roof over your head. What I am telling you is this: stop waiting for a perfect time that may never come. Your blue notepad might not be about a trip to the ocean or a vintage car. Maybe your dream is just to buy that one expensive book you've wanted for a year. Maybe it's taking a walk alone for 30 minutes without feeling guilty that the laundry isn't done. Or maybe it's finally saying no to a family member who takes too much of your energy. We spend so much of our lives being the glue that holds everyone else together. But remember, even glue eventually dries up if it's spread too thin. My journey at 81 isn't a blueprint. It's a reminder that you are still a person, not just a resource for others. Don't wait until you're 81 to realize that your joy is a necessity, not a luxury. Whatever your circumstances, find one small corner of your life that belongs strictly to you. Because at the end of the day, the only inheritance that truly matters is the memory of a woman who wasn't afraid to love herself. Start today. Even if it's just one small step, you've earned it.